Oh, yay, it worked. Okay, awesome. Let me get everybody muted out really quick. Okay, so first of all, thanks guys for being a little bit flexible. Yesterday morning I had an appointment. It sucks. I cannot wait till we are only 2 hours apart on the East Coast. Arizona, Phoenix is like the only place where the time doesn't change ever. We always stay the same. So sometimes we're 3 hours from East Coast and sometimes we're 2 hours, and hopefully fall will get here quick enough so we'll only be 2 hours away. But like most of my appointments that are scheduled are like at 9 in the morning here, and that's 12 Eastern. So that's why we had a little delay in our call and switch till today. Also, next week I'm going to be doing our first 12K call. I really appreciate if you're a 12K and you have not, I put a little thread in the 12K and above page just asking what you want to learn about. What are some of the things that you feel like you're, lacking? What do you want some training on? So if you have not, given your feedback, what you're wanting to get out of our 12K calls, please go find that message thread and post below there. Also, if you are an 80 or 200K holding either one of those ranks, if you could go, actually, it doesn't even matter at this point. So basically, I'm holding a retreat, most likely in March. The problem is there's so many people, and the long story short of it is I want this to be a little bit smaller, more intimate of a retreat. And I feel like for me personally, and I'm just going to throw this out there and be really raw and honest. For me personally, I feel like the people that need those things the most are newer people, are people that aren't 200K yet, that aren't 80K. So I do definitely want to hold some spots for new people, not new, but people anywhere from the 4K to 40K range to be able to earn the leadership retreat. But I also am a firm believer that just because you hold the title of 80K or 200K doesn't necessarily mean that you deserve to come to a leadership retreat. We have 80Ks and 200Ks that aren't working. So, I don't want to make it to where, if you're an 80K or 200K, you could come. Plus, you guys, those numbers are so high. I would have to rent out 50 houses. It would be ridiculous. So I somehow have to make this where I feel like it's totally fair and getting the right people at the retreat. So basically, the retreat is, we're going to have room for 23-ish people. That's what this mansion holds, and it's going to be crazy. The stuff that I have planned, y'all know I can get over the top. Out of all the retreats I've done in the 8 years that I've been in this business, this one is going to be just ridiculously over the top. I'm super excited about it. It's going to be just tons of surprises and tons of fun. I'm looking at the dates of March 27th through the 31st. It's beautiful here in Phoenix. The weather is going to be awesome. Well, hopefully. 9 times out of 10, it doesn't rain here, so we're usually pretty clear there. But it's going to be amazing, and it's something that I feel like people need to earn, because it's just something people need to earn. So what I'm kind of leaning towards right now are the top 10 200Ks. I'm trying to really grasp how many 200Ks we have, to be honest with you guys. How many 200Ks we have, to be honest with you guys, because we have a lot of 200Ks, but a lot of 200Ks aren't holding. So I may be able to lower that number. I'm just kind of trying to see where we're at. And there's going to be, what I want to reassure you guys of is there's going to be points that you earn to earn this trip. And it's going to be based off of not just signing people. I'm a huge believer that just because somebody isn't a huge enroller doesn't mean they're not working, doesn't mean they're not a good leader. I've got 200Ks on this team that are totally I've got some 200Ks and 80Ks that enroll like crazy town, but when it comes to volunteering for things, being there for their team, they kind of are non-existent. They're just really good enrollers. where then I also on the turning the tables a little bit, I have 280Ks that are phenomenal leaders, just really in the trenches, always volunteering for things, making sure things are happening on their team, but they're not as crazy of enrollers. So there's going to be several ways for you guys to be able to earn points to earn when I'm trying to make it as fair as possible. It sucks. Do I wish I could take every single person on this team and make sure that they're there? Heck yeah. I even thought, do I want to do a week just with my personally enrolled? And I can't even do that because when I look at my personally enrolled, that wouldn't fit into what I'm doing. So anyways, just know that this is going to be released within the next week, but points are going to be able to start. The qualifying months for this are going to be September, October, November, December. In order for you to qualify for an 80K spot or a 200K spot, you have to be holding 3 of the 4 months you have to be holding rank. So out of September through December, 3 of those 4 months, you have to be holding the rank of 80K or 200K. So let's say you're a 200K. If you're a 200K right now, but you're not holding, and for 3 of the 4 months, 1 of the months you held 200K and 3 of the months you held 80K, you would be an 80K. Okay, so if you're an 80K but not holding, and 3 of the months you held 40K and 1 of the months you held 80K, you would be qualifying for the spots, not 80K, but you'd be qualifying for the 4K to 40K spot. So 3 of whatever you are holding, 3 of the 4 months. Okay, so those are the qualifying months, and I think that the reason I want to do it that way too is because it's going to keep people moving through the winter. It's going to keep people moving through the fall. And not only that, but at the same time, it's going to give people time to be able to book their flight, know what dates they need to get off work if they want to come and all that good stuff. All right, so there's that. And I'll be getting everything out there as far as how this is going to work. My goal was to get 30 people at this retreat. Unfortunately, I cannot find a freaking house that fits that many. The most I can find is 26. So with that said, I wanted to make it a little bit bigger, but it's looking like it's going to be around the 24 people mark are going to be able to earn it. So with that said, the 12K call next week, you're gonna see when I put these ways to earn the leadership retreat for 80Ks and 200Ks are gonna be different than obviously 40K and under. There's different ways for them, but one of the ways you're going to see for 80Ks and 200Ks is you're going to be able to get points if you volunteer to do calls, if you volunteer to do lives and things like that. So it's going to get you kind of pushing out of your comfort zone and stepping up your game as an 80K and a 200K. What I'm looking for though is I would like to start doing 2 calls a month for 12Ks, training calls. We need to decide on the best day for that. I was kind of thinking either Monday nights or Sunday nights. I think that at the rank of 12K, most people are still working a job. So doing something during the day just isn't feasible. But I'm going to be looking for 80Ks and 200Ks that want to help with those calls, that want to get on and do some training and help with the 12K training call. I don't know about you guys, and I'd like some feedback on it, whether we should do 1 a week or whether we should do 2 calls a month. I kind of am, in my personal opinion, kind of aiming towards 2 calls a month. And then of course 12Ks can always still get on and listen to our normal every Tuesday 12 noon Eastern leadership call. So I'm thinking 2 right now. I think right now what we need to really do is get our games stepped up, because kids are going back to school, because fall is coming, because winter's coming, because this is the time where we need to really, this is the time planning happens. This is the time where all of you guys should be kind of stepping back and going, okay, where do I need to be spending my time? What am I going to be, who am I going to be working with? Who am I going to be pushing through the next 3 to 4 months? It's going to be the next 4 months that really dictate your January, February, March, and April. Our biggest months in the industry of network marketing start in January with New Year's resolutions and any specials. That's usually when Lavelle will come out with something. And then our conference actually isn't until April or May, which is super nice because that pushes us through the summer. So what we're doing over the next 4 months, this next 4 months is that kind of sowing seeds. This is where we're kind of sowing our seeds. This is where we're kind of finding our bearings, stepping up more as leaders, pushing people through the next 3 to 4 months, because whatever you guys do over the next 3 to 4 months, 4 months actually, that's going to take you into January, and that's where you're going to be able to, all those seeds you're planting are going to be able to sprout. So more than ever, even if, what I want you guys to keep in mind is, even if enrollment's down, even if you're not signing as many customers, if you're not signing as many promoters, if your team isn't signing as many, it doesn't mean stop doing all the right actions. That's why one of the things with this leadership retreat is I have people doing all the right actions. Actions mean so much during the next 4 months, because it's going to be your actions that take you into January, and that's where, are there going to be seeds sprouting? Are there the seeds that you planted? If you planted any, those are going to be the people that are coming around that are signing up. People always say, always, the biggest question I get is, how did you get where you are? If you could give me one tip, what would it be? And it's always, you've got to be working when others aren't. You've got to be pushing through. You've always got to be doing the right actions. The smartest thing I've done over the last 8 years is I don't take breaks. I don't go, oh, well, nobody's working in the summer, so I'm just not going to do anything. Or, hey, fall's come in and nobody works in the month of November and December, so I'm not going to work. I've never said that. I just keep doing it. And I don't get frustrated when I'm not signing people. I don't get frustrated if no one's biting. I still keep doing all of the things that I need to be doing. I still keep setting the goals, still keep signing people, as far as free customer accounts. I still keep connecting, building relationships, adding to Facebook, getting out many experiences. And I don't get that frustration that a lot of people get, because I've been doing this for so long, because 8 years of watching the way that this whole thing works. And it doesn't matter what company you're with. It doesn't matter. Network marketing is network marketing. There's busy seasons, slow seasons, just like if you owned a traditional business. You're going to have faster times, slower times, but you don't close. You don't close down. And you guys, I can tell you, over the last 8 years, the difference between the people that are constantly moving in this business and the ones that aren't are the fact that they just don't stop. I don't stop. I don't stop working. My open sign is always, I get up every morning and my open sign is on that door, whether I haven't signed anybody in 2 months or not. I'm always open for business. I'm always doing the right actions. So it's going to be all about that over the next couple months. And I want you guys to keep that in mind. It's those of you that kind of slow down and decide not to work as hard, you're going to get to January and not have as much in your pipeline as other people that really did push through. So that's the best advice I can give you. And one of the things I would be doing is really setting some personal goals for yourself as leaders. Where do I want to be in December? Remember, wherever you end out the year is where you start January. My goal always is to maintain. I'm not trying to lose anything. I'm either trying to grow or maintain, okay? And I know, like I said, I'm very practical when it comes to setting goals and, where I can be and where I can't be. I'm super practical about it. And I can tell you, for the last 2 years here, we've been in, this will be my 3rd December coming into Lavelle. December has been an amazing month for me. So it's so crazy with Lavelle because, with the last business I was in, I could totally predict this is the busy time. This is the slow time. This is when nobody does nothing. It's so different here because they're always doing something and always coming out with something. I'm always on my toes here that we don't really have. The slow times are different for everybody. Like some people, summer was slow for you, whereas summer was hugely busy for me. But then fall's going to come and maybe it's going to be slower for me where it's hugely busy for you. What I love about Lavelle is that it's different for everyone. We don't really have a slow time here. Your slow time is, I guess, when you make it your slow time. I haven't had a slow time in 21 months, 22 months. Even when I wasn't signing anyone, I wasn't slow. Even when I personally wasn't signing anybody because I had a bad month or whatever, I was never slow. I was still working and doing all the right things. So biggest advice I can give you guys is get a plan, know where you want to personally be, get off of this. We talked a little bit about this last week, but you've got to get off of this mindset of waiting for your team to do something? Or how can I inspire these people to work? How can I make the people I already have do more? The answer is always going to be the same. You can ask any 200K on here or in the company. You can't inspire people. They have to have that inspiration in themselves to get out there and do it. The only thing you can keep doing is what you've been doing. Set goals for yourself, get out there, work with your workers. I love people where they're at. If you are a walker under me, I'm going to walk with you. If you're a runner, I'm going to run with you. If you are sitting there carrying an auto ship, I'm going to check in with you once a month. I mean, I'm where people are at, and I'm always letting them know, hey, if you ever decide to step up your game, I'm here to help. It's just don't hesitate. Make sure you're letting me know. I'm not psychic. But I never go, and it makes me think about when I was in my last business, my biggest leg that took me all the way to a $10,000 monthly income wasn't there when I reached the top of the comp plan. An entire leg completely was gone. Okay. If I would have just said, okay, I'm just going to concentrate with these people that I already have. I'm not going to keep adding new. I'm not going to keep working forward. I'm not gonna, I'm set because these people are working right now. If I would just said that, I would have never gotten to the top of that comp plan, and I would have been hugely affected when that leg just kind of started to disintegrate. You've always got to be working forward. Like, you can't count on anyone. You guys, the people that get you to 80K aren't going to be the same people that get you to 200K. The people that got you to 4K aren't going to be the same people that get you to 12K. They change. It always changes. So if you are sitting back and you're just concentrating on the people that you have and you're thinking that somehow they're going to take you where you want to go, that's just not the case. You've got to work with your workers, always doing all the right things yourself. That's definitely the key. What was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, okay. The other thing, I'm going to be releasing 100 free mini experiences. Of course, I am going to hope that people put people through the funnel. I'm going to do a video on this. I think we're going to release this Monday. They're going to be first come, first serve. I'm going to ask for a little bit of proof. I'm not going to go as crazy as I did the last time I did it, where I was like, you have to do this, 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 and this. I'm going to explain what the funnel is. I'm going to ask for like the three-way message is the thing I'm most concerned about. I truly believe that the ticket and the key to success in Lavelle is third-party credibility, those three-way messages. So I'm going to be asking for a screenshot of three-way messages. So I want you guys as leaders to be prepared. If you're a 12K or above, be prepared that the people underneath of you trying to get these mini experiences out, they're going to be putting you in a three-way message thread to introduce you to their prospect, just for you to share your story quick and be there to walk them through any questions they might have, or, and ask, offer them a special, or, especially for your new people, walk them through, this is what you say, how to say it. But I'm really going to encourage that more than anything else, making sure that they have proof of that. So I want you guys to be mentally prepared that over the next, week, these will probably go fast. Y'all know once you get out mini experiences and they're free, they go pretty fast. So for the next week or so, you're probably going to be, if you've got some workers under you that really want to take advantage of these free mini experiences, you're probably going to be a little busy in those three-way message threads. So, and you know how quick they are, guys. This isn't, I'm in a three-way message thread. I explain my story in like 10 seconds, and that's it. It's super simple, super quick. If they have any questions, I'll answer them, but it's not like it's some huge deal where, oh my gosh. And you can also, tell people if you're working, hey, go to this person, have a backup plan, or just say, hey, I will get in. I just go to at lunchtime. I'd be like, hey, I'm working. As soon as I get off work, I'll listen to this and I'll help you out or whatever. Just communicate with your people and let them know what your schedule is, or communicate with your upline saying, hey, I work between this hour and this hour. Can I send so-and-so and so-and-so to you if they get somebody that they want to put in a message thread? So that's going to be released. Also, if you went 25K for the very first time in the month of July, last call. Like if you know somebody on your team did, last call for them to post in that post. I want to do that drawing possibly today or tomorrow, where we pick some winners of some money for 25K. And what was the other thing? tonight's team Zoom, Aubrey's doing it. She's going to have some guests on, share stories, tips. At the end of that Zoom, I will be on it, and I'm planning on giving away some more money tonight. I would push your people to get on the Zoom. All I know is I got so much feedback from last week's. I don't know about you guys, but so many people were messaging me after last week's team call, just excited and rejuvenated, and they said they needed it. Aubrey's going to be amazing tonight. I mean, let's push. Let's get people on this. And like I said, for every 100 people that get on it, I'm going to do some drawings for money. So let's get some people on that. Trying to think if there's anything else. I didn't really have a whole lot today. And I was going to do a little bit of self-development if y'all are cool with it. Y'all know right now my book that I'm totally into is Unfuck Yourself. And I don't know if y'all went out and got it. There's a book that I want to do right after this that Jamie Pekka actually mentioned. And it looks super good, and I've had like the best feedback from people that already have gone out and gotten it. So I think that's the book that I kind of want to concentrate on next. But this book has kind of been like, for me personally, I feel like it's been something that I really feel like it's like where we're at right now, like everything we keep talking about and where everybody kind of collectively is at. There is a chapter in this book for everybody, but as a whole, I just feel like the message of this book is going to help each and every one of us through the next 4 months, pushing us into January. Last week, I kind of went over chapter 1, which was, in a nutshell, in the beginning, like it's talking about mindset change. And this week, the question you're supposed to ask yourself is, am I willing? Stop blaming luck. Stop blaming other people. Stop pointing to outside influence or circumstances. This is the thing, you guys. The biggest thing with lack of success on our team in this world is the fact that people blame, right? When things are not going our way, we want to look left, we want to look right, we want to blame our upline, our downline, our sideline, our kids, our man, our wife. We want to blame, right? This is why we're not succeeding. This is why we're not going anywhere. And at the end of the day, the last place we look at is usually in the mirror, where we need to be looking and figure out why we aren't succeeding, because it's always our fault. It really, really, truly is. And what I love about this question in this chapter is, am I willing? Are you willing to move on to that next level? Are you willing to recognize what you need to do and then start doing it? That point blank, that's it. Have you have the life you're willing to put up with, right? Think about it. What are the problems, the dark shadows currently spoiling the warmth and happiness of your otherwise blissful life? Do you hate your job? Are you in a bad relationship? Is there something wrong with your health? Fine, get a new job, end the relationship, change your diet, exercise, or locate the kind of help that you need. Seems simple, doesn't it? Even when it comes to the things that you seemingly had no say in, like the death of a loved one or losing your business. You have a massive say in the ways that you live your life and in the aftermath of those events. Even when things happen that we don't have any control over, like the death of something or losing something, that happens to everybody. But it's what you do after that, how you move forward, that dictates what's going to happen next. If you're not willing to take the actions to change your situation, then what are you willing to put up with? What are things that you're willing to put up with in your situation? Whether you like it or not, that's the life you've chosen. Before you guys think, but this, but that, but this is why it happened, or but that's why I can't do it. Start to get before you start getting all upset with me, let me say one more thing. By defending your circumstances as they are right now, you're actually making a case for being where you are, right? Aren't you? If we start defending why this is this way, why isn't my business moving, why isn't my team growing, we're really making a case for why we are where we are, right? We're making a case for it. No buts. You can't afford them. They're excess baggage on a trip that requires you to travel light. Circumstances don't make the man. They only reveal him to himself. The true measure of who you guys are won't be found in your circumstances, but rather in the way in which you respond to them. To start this new process, you must first stop one another. Stop blaming luck. Stop blaming other people. Stop pointing to outside influences or circumstances. Stop blaming your childhood or your neighborhood. This approach is fundamental to everything that I talk about. You cannot, I repeat, you cannot dwell in any blame games in your life. Even blaming yourself is completely useless. Of course, you'll face situations that you seemingly can't control. You may even face tragic circumstances like disabilities, diseases, or death of a loved one. But there is always something you guys can do to impact those circumstances if you've had them for years. And wait, even if you've had them for years and still can't see a way. But first, you must be willing to fully embrace this approach. You must first accept that while there are things that have happened in your life that you have no say in, you are 100% responsible for what you do with your life in the aftermath of those events. Always, every time, no excuses. The dictionary describes willingness as the quality or state of being prepared, readiness. In other words, willingness is a state in which we can engage with life and see a situation from a new perspective. It starts with you and ends with you. No one can make you willing, and you can't move forward until you really are willing to make the next move. When you guys are finally willing, you can literally experience that willingness, that innate freedom that courses through your veins. And similarly, when you are not that kind of, when you are in that kind of stuckness that halts and presses down on you like some invisible weight on your chest, believe me, I hear you. I'm willing, but every time you add that but to the end of the statement, you turn yourself into the victim. In my many years as a coach and mentor, I have heard as many complex life situations as there are, from the darkest of pasts to the weight and gravity of the present or crippling fear of the future. I've heard them over and over and over again. You have to hear what I'm saying in the way that it's intended. I'm not saying these things to inflame you. Well, maybe I am, but the intention is to inflame you to your own potential, to make you realize your own greatness, not just to piss you off. Take the case. Imagine for a moment that willingness is missing in your life. Not some wispy, sheepish willingness, but rather a bold willingness, the kind of willing state where you are ready for what's next and ready to act on it. Willingness to change, willingness to let go, willingness to accept, real, magical, inspired willingness. Finding the door. Fate leads the willing and drags along the reluctant. Fate leads the willing and drags along the reluctant. I love that little saying. Either you control your destiny or your destiny is going to control you. Life won't stop for your pauses and procrastinations. It won't stop for your confusion or your fear. It will continue right along with you. Whether you play an active part or not, the show is always going to go on. That's why one of the first personal assertions taught is I am willing. Before you can say that to yourself honestly, you must first ask yourself the question, am I willing? That question demands an answer. It can't just be left there in the nothingness of the universe. Am I willing? It pulls for a response. Am I willing? Its power is irresistible. I cannot escape it. I cannot escape its press for truth. Am I willing to go to the gym? Am I willing to work on the project I've been putting off? Am I willing to face my social fears? Am I willing to ask for a raise or quit this crappy job? Life won't stop for your pauses and procrastinations. It won't stop for your confusion or fear. It will continue right along with you. In short, are you guys willing to stop living the life you have and start living the life you're after? It all begins with the emergence of willingness, that liquid, constantly expanding and contracting state where life springs and seeds. And all of it is within you at the flick of a linguistic switch. We often view ourselves as procrastinators or lazy or unmotivated, when in reality, we're simply unwilling. We put things off and avoid them completely because we tell ourselves we just don't want to do it or that we can't do it. Instead of viewing this behavior as a character flaw, let's create a sense of willingness where there is apparently none, a spark of potential, if you like. You're a master, a generator of the state of openness and of your state of openness and potential. Once upon a time in your life, that state was easy to access. in your childhood. We could do anything when we were kids, right? Somehow over the years, we lost touch with that magical state where the willingness is great, the difficulties cannot be great. Consider for a second that it does not matter what you're facing in life, which obstacles you're trying to overcome. If you're willing to generate the state of willingness, that's your doorway to make the effort. Take the steps, deal with the setbacks, and ultimately create the progress and change in your life that you guys are seeking. That's why such a simple statement, I am willing, is so profound. You become enlivened and empowered by its promise upon its allure. I ask again, are you willing? Maybe you are, in fact, unwilling. In many cases, that may actually be the best answer you can give. Sometimes declaring your unwillingness can be just as powerful as declaring your willingness. Are you willing to live with a body that's unhealthy? No. Are you willing to continue living paycheck to paycheck? No. Are you willing to put up with unworkable, unsustainable relationships? No. I am unwilling. Unwillingness ignites resolve and determination. It provides an access to taking a robust and urgent approach to your situation. When you are unwilling, it often represents a line in the sand where you are no longer willing to go back that way, the way you came. Only when you're unwilling to continue just simply existing, feeling unsatisfied and unfulfilled, will you make the effort unnecessarily to make a change. Only when you are unwilling to put up with the bullshit any longer will you grab your shovel and start digging. At times, there's no greater motivation to change than the unwillingness to do this any longer. Which one works for you in your life currently? I am willing or I am unwilling. Can you see how being unwilling can potentially be just as powerful as being willing? I don't know. For me, you guys, when I thought about this, for me, it's unwilling. For some people, it's what are you willing to do? For me, it's more powerful for me to say, this is what I'm unwilling to do. I'm unwilling to go back to waiting tables. I'm unwilling to live less than paycheck to paycheck. I am unwilling to put up with a crappy relationship. I'm unwilling, for me, it's more powerful to say that I'm unwilling to do something than what am I willing to do? Because once I make that powerful statement, like I am unwilling to ever go back there, it sets a fire in my stomach that pushes me forward. So you guys have to figure out, what's more powerful for you to say? Is it more powerful for you to say that you want to make a list of things that you're unwilling to do or go back to? Or is it more powerful for you to say things that you're willing to do? I'm willing to get up every day and go exercise. Like I said, for me, it's unwilling. It's unwilling is a huge word that kind of resonates with me, that puts a fire in my belly, so to speak, I guess. Depending on the circumstances, some of us feel more empowered by the assertion, I am willing. And while for others, declaring I am unwilling gives them strength and resolve. You might find yourself motivated by both and equally depending on the situation. Whichever category you fall into, you can not only shift the personal assertion, you can reframe the way you approach your problems. For example, are you willing to find a new job? Yes, I am willing. Are you willing to stay in a job you hate? No, I am unwilling. Both assertions can be just as effective. It's up to you to determine which one fits your persona and situation, which one does it for you. The power of purpose. There's another way for you guys, for your unwillingness to free you from the hamster wheel, because sometimes it doesn't matter what you ask yourself or how many times you said it. You just can't muster the willingness long enough to change anything. You might well be one of the life's greatest starters, but not finishers. I feel like that sometimes. I'm a great starter, but I'm not a finisher. At the end of it all, you might have to face the cold reality that you have been all too willing to remain the same. You have been unwilling to fundamentally change your life and lose that weight for good. That somewhere in there you are okay with living this way. I mean, come on. You must be, or you would have changed it by now. At some level, you must have some tolerance for having your life turn out like this. You guys, that's powerful. I want you to think about that. If you are where you are right now in a situation, part of you wants to be there, right? Part of you has to want to be there, or you would have done something about it. That's actually okay. Getting straight with yourself about having made the decision to stay where you are can be just as powerful as the decision to move. Why? Because sometimes recognizing that you willingly put yourself in a place where you are unhappy is it basically it's required to make an opening for real and lasting change. It's like kind of opening your mind and go, yeah, I'm here. Why am I here and why am I okay with this? This has to be done without blaming yourself and turning yourself into a victim of some internal blip or character flaw. In the moment you realize you have cognitively and systematically put yourself here, guess what? That's right. You can cognitively and systematically get yourself out. This is also the foundation of granting yourself the grace of acceptance, of embracing what has been, and daring yourself to reach out for reaching out for an unimaginable future. He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for the things which he has. By stating and facing your unwillingness to change, you can take stock of yourself and your life and begin to create a sliver of light for you to get started, at least get started and moving in a different direction. The secret is once you've separated the task or whatever it is you are dealing with from the drama of the past, you may find yourself more open to tackling it. You'll be able to get past the emotional swirl and straight to the heart of the issue itself, reaching for the stars with short arms. Some goals simply aren't connected to our reality. Don't get me wrong, I am all for reaching for the stars and striving for things that seem impossible. For instance, we'd probably all like to be filthy rich, but are you willing to do what it takes to make that much money? Are you willing to work 60, 70, or 80 hours a week or skip vacations to do the work that needs to get done? Are you willing to take on more responsibility and, importantly, risk it all? Have you, in reality, confronted and dealt with what becoming filthy rich might really demand of you? The seemingly endless strain on your life and mind space? Our society has produced such a headlong rush to be the wealthiest, the smartest, the prettiest, the best dressed, the funniest, or the strongest. And somewhere in there, we have lost the ability to just be ourselves, free to breathe life and choose our own path rather than carry the burden of social or family expectations. What does all this produce? Well, a lot of disappointed and unfulfilled human beings, that's for sure. That doesn't mean you should stop pursuing amazing life goals if that's what you really want. It also doesn't mean you should let yourself stagnate or stop improving either. There's nothing inherently wrong in working long hours and sacrificing your quality of life. And some people might be perfectly content doing so in order to make the income or get the career they want. But some, in fact, many of us have actually forgotten why we are pursuing what we are pursuing in the first place. All too often, we focus solely on what we don't have, even though deep down we don't really need it or perhaps even want it. When I lay these things out, you might be nodding your head. He's right. I don't need to be a millionaire. Or I don't even really want six pack abs, which of course is fine until the next time you see that nice car and think, why don't I have that? Or when you look at the cover of a magazine and wonder, why don't I look like that? Or why aren't my clothes that nice? Making sure we're striving for what we really want requires a constant check-in with ourselves, and it's not a one and done deal. If you really don't want these things, then if you really want these things, then go get them. Begin today. Lay out your strategy. Deal with your reality. And most importantly, take the actions required and take them often. But if you're not willing to work an extra 10 or 20 hours a week just to drive to work in a BMW instead of a Honda, give up the complete waste of precious headspace to yearn for it. Stop pretending to yourself. Deal with your unwillingness to take on that kind of actions accomplishing those things would require, and accept that you've been bullshitting yourself. You'll have a lot more capacity for loving the life you do have and creating some room to begin striving for the things you actually want in life. Am I unwilling to give up all of my favorite foods just to have the body I did when I was 20? I am unwilling to trade time with my family for an extra zero on my paycheck. Face your reality. Once you adopt the mindset of I am unwilling, you will no longer be filled with guilt, resentment, or regret every time you are seeing something you think you want. You'll be in a place where you are connected to and in tune with your real life. And if you really want to pursue those things in the future, you'll be able to locate yourself from that reality and plot your road to accomplish them. Chart your path. One of the beautiful things about really taking a hard look at your life and goals is that doing so forces you guys to reevaluate the path that leads you to them. Is exercising 30 minutes a day really as impossible as your mind has built it up to be? Sure, you're going to get a little sweaty and tired, but you can throw on your favorite music to help the time go faster. And even though it might start out painfully, you'll eventually get used to that and grow stronger. What's the worst thing that can happen if you offer your idea in the meeting? It gets shot down? So what? Even if you're faced with bigger tasks, much bigger tasks like years of back taxes, a hoarder's paradise of a garage, telling the truth to someone you've been lying to, the path to change starts with the same glimmer of willingness. Bear in mind, we all tend to build things up in our minds to make it a lot bigger than they really are. Telling the truth becomes a trek to the Sahara Desert and back. If that's the case for you, try breaking the task down into smaller declarations of willingness to stand up, get out of bed, open my mail, etc. Of course, you might well be dealing with something much bigger than these examples, but even when you ramp it up, the same model works exceptionally well. Let's say you have been holding on to a dark secret. Maybe you're ashamed or guilty or resentful. Perhaps this is something that could change your life in a significant way. Am I willing to tell the truth to that person I've been lying to? When you frame it this way, coming clean becomes an occasion to talk, listen, and then deal with the consequences. You might be dreading it, but you can do it. It's not the task that's important. It's the life that's available after that's at stake here. When you are free to be open and available with nothing held back, no lies, no withholds, or half truths, you really are your most expressive, most alive self. Most of the time, the tasks we were actually facing is a lot simpler than what we think it is. The problem is we usually don't take the time to really look at it. Some of the things we face certainly can be challenging, but at the same time, what's on the other side of those challenges? It's a life of our dreams, a life we are willing and open and inspired to take it on. Make that assertion, I am willing. Plant your flag. When you guys start to view the world through the lens of what you're willing and unwilling to pursue, rather than what it seems you want and don't want, things start to become a lot clearer. Instead of wasting time worrying about the things that other people have, you'll start focusing on what's really important to you in your life. You'll realize that once you replace envy, lust, and desire with a willingness to change your life for the better, things really start to take shape. When we understand what we are genuinely willing to do, we take back control of the subconscious thoughts and feelings that previously directed our behavior away from where we truly wanted to go. You have the ability to determine what your truth is, and not from subconscious glitch that keeps popping up from the past either, but instead from your cognitive and conscious self, from the power of intervening on behalf of yourself. Willingness is a true beauty that only you can generate. No longer will thoughts like, I am a failure because I'm not a millionaire, or I am lazy because I'm not a size 6, have the power to make you feel like crap, because you will have owned your choices. Once you frame the obstacles in your life as a matter of willing and unwilling, instead of weighing yourself down with a negative opinion of yourself and your circumstances, you can break through the self-imposed barriers that are truly holding you back. You can see through the distractions of self-talk and drama. You'll realize that when you're willing to do what it takes, nothing else matters. You won't put off the things you truly are willing to do. You won't neglect the responsibilities you took on because you will feel the strong sense of willingness to do them. Willingness, it's the life blood of the new, the infinite well of possibility and potential, a state where new futures arise and whole new you can begin. Ask yourself, am I willing? Over and over until you can hear it. First thing in the morning, last thing at night, while you're driving, while in the shower, am I willing? Ask, ask, ask until it's a resounding yes. Echoes through your consciousness. I am willing. I ask you again, are you willing? So that was that chapter. I don't know what y'all got out of it, but for me, I would like to know, what did you get out of it? If anybody wants to talk, but I For me personally, what I got out of it is we think we want things based off of other people. If somebody else, because society says we should look like this, or because society says that we should have these things, point blank, we need to, do we really, as it pertains to this business, yes, do you want to be at 200K, but are you willing to do what it takes to get there? Are you willing to? Are you willing to give up, going to missing some of your kids' games? Some people aren't willing to do that. And I guess by kind of figuring out where you're at and what you truly want for what you're willing to do, there's a sense of peace, but then you know where you're going to get to. And I think you also can know that it's okay to take more time, because if I'm not willing to do what Lisa's doing right now, it's just going to take me longer to get there. But I think once you become at peace with that, you stop comparing and you stop going, I'm not on the right time frame, or maybe I should quit. Maybe something else is better because it'll work quicker. I think once we just come to peace with that and really get real with ourselves and say, what are we willing and not willing to do to get to where we want to go? And this can obviously pertain to so many different parts of your life. I'm just kind of focusing on the business aspect because obviously we're in Lavelle and we're on a call about that. But for me, it just is, what are you willing to do? I can't be mad that I'm not where I want to be when I'm not willing to do that. I can't be mad if I'm not, if last month I didn't sign 7 promoters when I wanted to, but I wasn't really willing to work any harder to do it, So I think it's once we become at peace with these things, then we can figure out where we're going at our own pace. And I would love, since we have 8 minutes left before an hour, if there's anybody on, what did you get out of it? Like anything at all? You're willing, I'd love to hear it.
Lisa, it's Sarah Bailey.
Hey, Sarah.
Hi. So I loved the part that was talking about the fact that if you're in a situation, some part of you still wants to be in that situation. It kind of goes along with what you were just talking about, but that was a big eye-opener for me. A lot of people think that they're in a situation because, like the devil is always at work or blah, blah, blah. And it's just excuses after excuses after excuses. But in reality, like you said, are you taking the steps to get out of that situation? Because it is just a situation. It's just your circumstances, and they can be changed so easy with mindset and, actions. So I think that's what spoke to me the most.
Love it. Yep. This book just keeps getting better and better, but it's going to like seriously walk you guys through. I don't know. We're going to keep doing it over the next couple weeks, but like the next chapter is, am I wired to win? This one's really good. Like, are you, now that you kind of decided what you're willing and not willing to do, where you want to be, now you have to like pre-wire your brain. This next chapter is so good. Really, really good. Anybody else kind of want to share what's on their heart at all?
Hey, Lisa, it's Pamela.
Hey, Pamela.
Hey, I like the phrase that you have the life that you're willing to put up with. That is just like so true. Like, you always have the opportunity to change your life, no matter what it is. I mean, it might be scary as crap. You might want to throw up when you think about it, but no matter what situation you're in, you have the ability to change it.
I love that. And it just made me think of this. In the part in there where it says it basically said I'm not willing to not be socially. It brings me back to when I first started in network marketing. I was super nervous to talk in front of people. It was like a real true fear, like so bad, debilitating, like I almost didn't sign up in my last business because it was that bad. But I had to ask myself, am I willing? Am I willing or unwilling to change that? The answer was I'm, even if it's baby steps, even if I have to throw up, even if I'm going to feel like I'm going to die, eventually I want to push through this. But the answer for some people could be, I am not willing. I am unwilling. I don't even want to try. I don't even want to, and this could be for anything. You guys ask yourself whatever it is. there are some things you're not willing to do. And I think that you need to be honest with yourself about it, because there's some things in network marketing that you have to do to get to where you want to go. And if you're unwilling to ever do them or grow past it, then you have to be okay with the pace you're moving or where you're at. You can't look around and blame left to right, or, you know, maybe there's something wrong with this, or maybe there's a better opportunity here. In general, in this industry, there's certain things that have to happen. And I don't care what company you're with. And if you are unwilling to change things, unwilling to move past it, that's the first step. You might not know how, guys. You might not know how you're going to move past it. You might, or through it. You might not be sure at all, like, how you're going to make it happen. But are you willing? And if the answer is, I am willing, that's where it starts. Or you might not be. I am unwilling to ever miss anything my kids have going on. I don't care if the biggest Lavelle event in history comes up and they pay for me to go to it. I am unwilling to miss anything with my kids. Okay, you got to be honest with yourself about things. Whatever you're unwilling to do, though, you cannot go blame other people for you not being where you want to be when you're unwilling to do some things. And I think that that's okay that you're unwilling, but you need to get okay with that. It's okay, but you need to get okay with it. And then you need to lay it out there and go, if I'm unwilling to do X and Y and Z, then I can't expect these things to happen. I think that's the biggest thing that I got out of that chapter was I need to be real about my expectations. What am I willing and unwilling to do? Every day I can bitch that I need to lose 10 more pounds. Am I either A, willing to go do what I need to do, or am I unwilling? Because if I'm unwilling, then I can stop bitching about it. Come to face with it. You know what? I'm unwilling. I'm unwilling to lose this last 10 pounds, period. I'm not willing to give up all the foods I love. I'm not willing to stop eating ice cream at night. I'm not willing to not grab that Hershey bar or that bag of chips. I'm not willing. And you know what happens? Then you can stop saying the other thing. I need to lose this 10 pounds. I need to lose this 10 pounds. You come to grips with the fact that you're not willing. Move on. Go to something else you're willing to do. But like, we have to come to grips in our own minds. It's that looking in that mirror thing that has to happen. That's so hard for people to do. But what are you willing and not willing to do with every aspect of the things that you're not happy with? And then once you realize, you know what? I'm not unhappy enough to change it. I may complain about it, but truly I'm not unhappy enough to change it. And what the book is saying is once you come to terms and grips with that stuff, you're going to be so much happier and freer because you're not going to worry about these things anymore because you've decided I'm unwilling, if that makes any sense. I don't know if I'm making sense, but it's making sense to me.
Hey, Lisa.
Yes.
Hey, it's Heather. I wanted to add something. Sorry, I'm out of breath because I'm willing to get on my bike every day and exercise because I have goals. And I think the biggest thing, and kind of this goes in all aspects of our life, and you reading this book as I'm sitting here hating every second of this workout, but loving how I feel afterwards, is in this business, you can't get comfortable. Like, I'm a 200K. I could have gotten comfortable all summer long, just hanging out with my kids, which I have, but I also got daycare for my daughter 3 days a week because I knew I needed to commit to this business because my old life was working 5 days a week and never seeing my kids. So 3 days a week, 6 hours a day, where it was unbroken time of me investing in my business, was something I was committed to. And I'll tell you, I've had a really productive summer in my business because I made that choice. And that's all I wanted to say because I can't breathe.
I love it. It's perfect. It's perfect. And some people aren't willing to put their daughter in daycare. That's okay. Then you don't want to. Then okay, let's move past it. Now you have less time than Heather's making up in her life to get to where she wants to go. So be okay with that. But stop making excuses and going, well, why am I not where I want to be at the end of this month? Well, were you willing to do what others are doing to get there? There's just going to be some things you're not willing to do. And that doesn't mean that you can't get there. It just means it's going to take you more time. It just means it's the level of importance to you. Something else might be more important at that time, and that's okay. but be okay with that. And I think that that is something that's going to help each and every person be okay with where they are, or figuring out, now that I know I'm willing to get past here, what do I need to do that? And I need to start doing it.
And I think once you reach a certain point in your company, it's not only what this has done for you, but what you see it do for more people. And when you have people on your team that have changed their life in a big way like you have, your commitment gets deeper. For me, this isn't just about me having a paycheck for my family. Now I'm seeing the vision of, this is a legacy. This is a legacy I'm creating for my kids and maybe my grandchildren. This isn't about me just working hard right now when I have an 8-year-old and 2 teenagers. What's my life going to look like in 10 years when they're having kids? I want the freedom to be able to go and hang out with my grandbabies someday and go visit my kids and fly around the world and make memories in 10 years that I know I have to commit to now, today, in the next X amount of years of my life, to have those choices like later on. Like, there's such a bigger picture here that we all have our hands on. That, to me, that gets me excited every day when I think about what we are blessed with being thrivers.
Love it. Anybody else have anything they want to add?
Hey, Lisa, this is Elizabeth. I caught probably the last 25 minutes of this, and you know where I'm at. I've got a lot of things on my plate that distract me from my business for some personal reasons. I was gripping myself with, okay, I feel hugely guilty because I'm not where I was a year ago as far as engagement with my team and in different things on the dream team or our personal team with Heather McCloskey. But what you read made me realize, I'm going to get emotional, that I'm not willing to give up certain things in order to, I've got to make the sacrifice now with the things I need to do outside of this business, and to not feel guilty about those choices. So it really helped me understand that, everybody has their own journey, their own perspective on what's important. And what you said really helped me a lot. Thank you.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad. And you know what? You're right. It could be the other way. There's things going on in like all of our lives, guys. And there's times where like you may have something personally going on, a divorce, a death, somebody's sick. It's okay to give more to those things than you are to your business at those times. We, I think as just adults, as moms, as people, feel so much stress. You know what I mean? We have all these things we have to do. And, we have these standards that we set for ourselves, places that we want to be. And when we fall short, we just blame ourselves and we're like, it can't be everything to it all. There's going to be levels of importance of things that are going on in your life, and those are going to shift. Sometimes your business will be that most important thing, and sometimes it's going to be other things. It's not always going to be business. And I think once you can get okay with that, I think it did the same thing for me as it did for you, Elizabeth, is it's making me okay with those times where I'm not into that, when I have to be other places. I totally understand what you're saying. Anybody else want to add anything?
Hey, Lisa.
Hey, Stephanie.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. It's just like listening to the last half hour, and I know a lot of people saying, what they're willing and not willing to do, and life does happen. It happens all the time, and I just feel like it's good for you guys to talk about this and saying, it's okay. This is what this business is for, to be like, what you're okay with and how you want to live your life. But also when that time happens, how are you going to pick yourself up and move on? So I just want to thank you for saying that, because stuff happens all the time.
Anybody else want to add anything? Anything on y'all's hearts?
I think for me, what you read from the last chapter, it is really helpful to be mindful of what we are willing and not willing to do or to continue to do. It helps us to really reflect on what changes could be made and what improvements could be made. So it really helped me was just to take a reflection on, what I am willing to do and what I'm not willing to do and what I maybe shouldn't be doing, because, we are human and things happen. Like you said, life happens. So that was a really good chapter, and it did really help me with reflection for what I'm willing and not willing to do. So give that some more thought too throughout the day as well. So thank you for sharing, Lisa.
Yay. You guys, I know some of you guys think self-development's silly, but it's not. Also, if you guys have any other book recommendations, maybe something that you've heard people talk about that you haven't read yet, that you want, like there's a lot of books that some people just pick up and they're like, nope, not happening. I can't get into this. But the message is huge. I know one of those books for me was How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. The size of the book is a little overwhelming, but the message is so amazing. Which, by the way, is probably one of the best books you could ever read on building relationships. It's so crazy how old that book is too. That way before social media, that book was out, and it's just, it's all the same. It never changes. This industry never changes. I hope everybody was super happy with their paychecks yesterday. If you weren't, then that's okay too. You got to step up your game maybe, or find some new blood. I know a lot of you guys are in that place where you're like, I'm not holding my rank. You guys, that's okay. I haven't held my rank before. It's just part of this industry, part of the ups and downs. And it doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong necessarily. It doesn't mean that it's falling apart. It's just ebbs and flows of business. But just keep in mind, for a lot of you guys that hit with the double volume, that was a lot of money. Double volume was a lot. So, I expected a lot of people not to maintain or hold, and that's okay. That's totally okay. But you know what? How cool is it? You got there. You'll get it back. It's just a matter of time. It's just moving forward, always moving forward. So I hope you guys are going to set some goals for yourself. We'll definitely talk next Tuesday. Next week, I guess we'll do a little poll. I don't know whatever you guys think is better, either Sunday night or Monday night or Tuesday night. I could do really any of those nights for the 12K and above call, but I'm super excited for that because I just feel like a lot of 12Ks want some more. It was crazy when I was reading through what 12Ks wanted. A lot of people don't understand the waiting room. They don't understand placement or the comp plan. I think I'm going to do a really good video on the comp plan, a more like extensive overview of it. I think I'll do that. Also, next week I'm going to do another, probably Monday night, I'll do another big live Facebook event, business opportunity event for people to send their customers and future promoters to. The last one we did was really good. We had a lot of people on it. I'm pretty sure we signed some new promoters from it. So I think we'll do another one of those. Maybe do it differently. Maybe have a guest. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, we'll do another one of those. And make sure you look at the schedule. This week, I know the people that were on the schedule for the Thursday night live event and the Wednesday night team call, everybody was on top of it. I don't know who's on next week. I'll find out. But make sure if you're on this page and you volunteered, look, after this month, we start over. And it's going to be on a volunteer basis, which is going to be huge because some of the ways to earn points are volunteering for those calls if you're an 80 and a 200K. So yeah, that'll be out there. So you guys watch for that.
Lisa,
yeah.
This is Elizabeth. I have the 15th for the Zoom training, and that's the week I'm going to go over those 4 promoter
Yay.
types.
Yay, I'm excited about that. That's next week, right? Yep, next week. Okay, cool. Okay, cool, guys. Well, I will let everybody go. Hope you got a little bit something out of today's call, and we will reconvene next Tuesday, 12 noon Eastern. Make sure that you guys are adding your new 12Ks to this group if they're not already in here, and we'll get our first 12K call next week. Have a good one, guys. Love ya, and we'll talk next week. Thanks for recording, Amanda.